Training around work or studies can be a bit of a challenge. Now, once you add into the mix family and social life, and it doesn't leave you that much time to get fit at all. But it can be done, I assure you, because I've done it myself. So here are 5 tips to help you get the balance right between training and working. As a guide, this is a typical week's training when I was working full-time in the police and also racing at a pretty high level as well. So on Monday would be, for me, a bit of a recovery day, nice easy ride to work, nice and simple. Tuesday, 1 hour hard with 3 or 4 hill reps. Wednesday, an hour with 10-second sprints, really great to help with your explosive power. Thursday, I generally jump on the turbo trainer for some intervals or like a threshold session to very, very high intensity. Friday would be a rest day, so it'd either be a recovery ride or no riding at all. And Saturday would be probably my favourite day of the week, apart from the race day, and that'd be my little ride to a cafe. So an hour and a half, nice and easy, generally with a couple of mates, sometimes on my own, really good for the morale. And then Sunday, of course, would be the event or my race. Now, you'll notice that towards the back end of the week, I actually taper things off, so the intensity really drops off to make sure that I was as fresh and rested as possible for the event. You'll also notice, I'd imagine, there's a lot of different sorts of training in here because variability is absolutely crucial. The exact nature or the specificity of the type of training you do will depend, of course, on your objectives, but be sure to try and mix things up. This will be of benefit not only physically, but also psychologically, and will avoid you getting stuck in a rut. My take on training was to essentially deconstruct the key elements of road cycling and work on them individually throughout the week. So take, for example, sprints, hill reps, threshold sessions, and intervals. Now, the endurance side of things was generally taken care of because I've been riding for so long and I had a good base. But essentially, I'd use the weekend's race as my endurance ride. But if you don't race or do an event each week, then the weekend does provide a good opportunity for a longer endurance-based ride of between 3 or 4 hours, or longer if you wish. Taking into account all of our physiological differences and abilities, and regardless of your aims and ambitions, if you train smarter, you will get fitter. So rather than just aimlessly riding your bike without any real focus, although from time to time that can actually be quite enjoyable, try and make sure that every single session counted. I actually managed to keep the same level of fitness when I was working full-time compared to when I was a full-time professional, simply because my training was of far higher quality. There simply were no dead miles, so to speak. Your primary motivation should be to get yourself in the best possible condition for the event that you're aiming for. And by training in a far more focused way, you'll also be ensuring yourself that you're getting the most from your precious, valuable time. To keep your enthusiasm and drive at their optimum, don't be afraid, if you need to take the occasional day off. Building a nice degree of flexibility into your training plan is essential to keep your mental state fresh and so you don't lose any focus. Finally, rest. Well, it's a scientific fact that you won't get any benefit from training unless you give your body the right amount of rest so it can adapt and recover from any training load. This is especially important if you're working full-time, as your body and immune system will be under a fair degree of strain. Now, in addition to making sure you get enough sleep during the week, you need to make sure you get enough rest in between intense and heavy training sessions where there's a really high workload. So if you're new to the sport, or if you've had a fair degree of time out from training, also make sure that you build up the training load nice and gradually.